A local lawmaker in North Carolina is pushing for the legislature to finally pass a state budget. Representative Deb Butler proposed a constitutional amendment called No Budget, No Pay. If it is passed, it would mean lawmakers would not receive their salary or allowances without passing a budget by June 30th. That's about $20,000 for General Assembly members, but more than $60,000 for the House Speaker and Senate President. Now, all of this comes as the legislature failed to pass a budget last year. While the amendment proposal is unlikely to get Republican support, Butler says something has to be done.
This is dysfunction at the highest level. You know, they're worried about all kinds of things, worried about banning books, worried about all these culture war things instead of minimum wage and salaries and jobs and childcare expense and the cost of groceries and the cost of gas. Instead of thinking about all those sorts of things and ways we can improve the lives of North Carolinians, they are sitting and bickering.
Right now, the state is still using its funding levels from 2023's budget. Now, as a result, some programs could soon run out of money for the fiscal